All right, welcome everyone. This is going to be the recap for this prior week, ending on 11/15 of 2019. Had a couple really tough days. I'll show you that in just a little bit. But once again, my strategy continues to be where I set myself an objective. My objective is $500. Once I hit that objective, I stop trading, and then if I don't hit that objective, then I just continue to trade through that session. Now, one of these days, on Monday, I didn't quite follow that rule and went a little bit over because there was a really nice setup right after I hit my objective. Monday was just an awesome day. I went ahead and I put on a few more contracts and had a really nice win. But by and large, I'm going to stick to that $500 objective. Sometimes I'm a little bit over. Sometimes I can be a little bit less, as you can see on Wednesdays. Wednesday was actually a pretty tough day overall. Wednesday and Thursday, by and large, are pretty tough days, and I'll show you that in a little bit and kind of how I handle those kind of days. But once again, my first win rate was 90%. What that means is that I look at the very first trade out of the gate. I'm not looking to make a selection on any particular trade. Whatever the first setup is for my patterns, I take it. And still hitting at 90% again this week like I did last week. And so basically what that means is that I put more than a single contract on with the idea that because this win rate is so high that I'm going to give myself a nice little boost starting off. So that also provides me with some sort of cushion. So later on in the session, if I do have a loss, I'm not going into the red. I'm just maybe giving up what I've already made or not giving it all up at all. So that's kind of how I trade. That's how I recommend everybody start looking at their first trades to see if they have a pretty high ratio. And if they do, then it kind of makes sense to start the day like that. Also, for some reason, first thing in the morning, the markets are really good. It seems like the pattern tends to be, at least for trading the 5 minutes, where the morning is really hot, and then it kind of gets choppy up until about I'm Central Time, so that would be 1:30 to 2 o'clock my time, Central Time, and then after that, the markets tend to start moving again and start to have some really good setups. So that typically seems to be the pattern. And then, of course, after 3 o'clock, once again, it drops down. You don't have as good a setups, and then, of course, when you hit around 7 p.m. Central Time again, my time, then it tends to be good all through the night up until about 7 o'clock the following day. So anyway, for those that can only trade at night, I like nights. I prefer to trade nights. If you look at my results, you can see I start at 8 a.m. to 3. That's 7 hours every day, and then I only trade for 2 hours at night. So you can see that I'm pretty much making in 2 hours what I make over a 7-hour period. Now, most of these trades, when I hit the objective, I'm usually doing it before 12:30, I think is the latest that I typically hit my objective. And then if I haven't hit my objective by 12:30, then I really have to be cautious, and then I start trying to pick it up a little bit after 1:30, 2 o'clock my time, and go ahead and I start hitting a little bit more and work my way into a 3 o'clock close because those trades tend to be pretty good. But nonetheless, that's where we are now. Once again, I always also track the naked trades here. What that means is these are just naked setups. Basically, whenever I get a setup for a particular pattern, what I do is we go ahead and we record it. I don't take all of my trades. Sometimes I will skip a trade, but assuming that you made all the trades considering no kind of filtration, once again, not using my EOM filter or looking at the pair correlations, which is very important. This is just if you just took every trade based on every setup, you can see that they still have pretty high ratios, and that once again was the result was the same this week as well. Aussie and Euro continue to be the strongest week after week after week. Always recommend new traders focus on these two markets, and then the yen and then the pound is typically going to be what I go for. So I'm always watching the Euro first, Aussie second, and then I always go to my yen, and then very seldom do I take a pound unless it's one of my really strong setups. These are all PAP setups, so this has nothing to do with any of the other patterns that I've talked about, like the delta and so forth. This is strictly the PAP, which is part of the pattern that I teach you when you decide to join the or decide to buy the core package. Okay. So anyhow, once again, very nice week overall. Couple days I didn't hit my objective. Wednesday, once again, was really tough day. I really had to cut back. And typically what I'll do is we do keep track of these percentages in chat. I think chat's real important. So typically whatever happens in the morning tends to follow through into the afternoon. So if a particular pair starts to get out of phase, then we stop trading it until it comes back into phase, and that has helped quite a bit going into Wednesday and Thursday, where I had to cut back to just 1 or 2 pairs, and then I have other methods that if those start going out of phase, then there's other things we can do to really cut back to either stop trading or to trade very little and just wait for the stronger setup. So nonetheless, I still survived those 2 days. Didn't have any red days this week, which is great. I think a lot of my students also hit most of their objectives coming in, so really excited about that. I'm seeing that a lot of my new students, coming out of the gate, only been in it for a couple weeks, and they're already hitting their objectives. So this is not a real hard strategy to learn. That's probably why it works. It has a single parameter, which is kind of unheard of when it comes to trading, but that's the key to this strategy. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the days here and see what they did. All right, so here we go. This is going to be, we'll take a look at the AUDUSD for the week. This is going to be Sunday night. Also, starting on Sunday, my programmer finally finished getting all of these arrows automated for all the patterns. Right now, this is a manual process for me where I'm drawing the arrows in chat to show the setups, buying shorts, and so forth. This is going to be automated starting this coming Sunday, which is the 17th, and it's going to allow everybody to see these right as they're happening. Instead of waiting for me to call them out and draw them, you're going to be able to see them just as quickly as I see them. So it's going to give you a little jump on some of these trades you want to take, but not sure about the particular pattern. So that's going to be a thing of the past, waiting for me. Starting this Sunday, this is all going to be automated. And so any of my students that are out there listening and watching these videos, please join me this week. One of the 2 sessions, I'm going to be going over everything and explaining how the new arrows work and how they identify the different patterns. So nonetheless, this is Sunday night. Sunday night was a really good night for us. Obviously, I trade all the pairs. I did hit my objective this night. This is just on the Aussie. You can see the Aussie had 1 loss here. That's actually a win there. You can't see that. But we had a very good night Sunday night. Sunday night tends to be my favorite night of the week. But I'll tell you what, any night is really good. But Sundays, for some reason, I have been most consistent. I think in the last, and I don't know, maybe in the last 7 or 8 months, I've only had 1 Sunday night where I've lost. And that's how good Sunday nights are. So anyway, if you are a short-term trader, you like these 5 minutes, I would highly suggest that you look at Sunday nights, because Sunday nights tend to be a very good trading night. Okay. And that's usually going to be anytime after 7 p.m. Central. Or if you're Eastern, that'd be anytime after 8 p.m. All right? So, nice Sunday night. Let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at the morning sessions from here on out. So, let's go ahead and let's take a look at Monday's session for the morning session for the Aussie USD. All right, this is Monday, November 11th. For the Aussie USD, once again, really good in-sync market. In fact, this was my highest grossing day on the, that was my highest net day for the week was the morning session. One of the things that you'll notice about this particular day, and I've talked about this before, is one of the things that that this particular pattern is designed to do is to stay in phase with the market movement. It does from time to time get out of phase. That's usually whenever I have 2 losses in a row. If I don't have 2 losses in a row, these single losses don't mean anything as far as it getting out of phase. and you can say it was in phase all day long. So just nailed it and I hit it early. I think I must have hit it by 11 o'clock. So from 8 to 11, I had already hit my $500 objective. This was the day where I went ahead and I took some extra ones because it was in phase all day. All of them were in phase. It's just one of those awesome strong days. So took advantage of it a little bit, went a little bit above my objective. But anyway, this is ideal. This is what we like to see. This is when markets get in phase. This is when you want to come in, get a little bit more aggressive. And then, as always, they do get out of phase. And when they're out of phase, we watch it, and then we wait until it gets back into phase, and so we start trading again. That's something that we talk a lot about in our chat room, knowing when it's out of phase and when it starts to come back into phase. Okay, so anyway, that is going to be Monday. Let's go ahead and take a look at November 12th, which is Tuesday's daily action for the Aussie USD. Okay, once again on Tuesday, another really nice in sync, or in phase, I should say, in phase market across all the pairs. Once again, hit my objective early in the day. Take a look at this. You can see that we had one loss here. Never had more than a single loss in a row, so it stayed in phase all day. I mean, these last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, were just awesome. So these are the days that we like to see. Because once the market's in phase, it stays in phase, and then when it gets out of phase, it stays out of phase. So that's a big plus, because when it gets out of phase, then we know to stay out, because the likelihood is going to stay out of phase for a while. But the nice thing is when it gets in phase, and we also know that the upcoming trades are going to be nice as well, because it will stay in phase for a while. So that's a big plus. Just knowing that, just knowing when to be in the market, when to be out of the market, is a big plus. So anyway, this particular pattern shows you how to stay in phase. All right, so really nice Tuesday. Let's take a look at Wednesday the 13th. All right, this is Wednesday the 13th for that Aussie USD. You can see most of the morning it stayed in phase. It did get slightly out of phase towards the end of the day, but this came in much later in the day. We were already no, actually Wednesday, this is one of the days where I didn't hit my objective. So I was trading several pairs. Aussie, I was trading the Euro USD as well as the yen, and I actually traded these two losses here. So I took those two losses, told me the market's getting out of phase. I stayed out of it. It started coming back in the phase, but the day was done. And I ended up still, $279, which is a respectable session, certainly shy of my $500 objective. I think a lot of the students also may have hit their objective early. If you didn't hit your objective early in the morning, then more than likely it would have been hard to hit your objective later in the afternoon, because even though you look at this and it says Aussie looks good, if you're trading more than one pair, which I don't recommend new students do, then those others were also coming out of phase. And really, me trading across the board, trading several that were starting to go out of phase, that's really what kept me from hitting my objective. So that's a big plus when it comes to these short-term trading strategies, particularly trading the 5 minutes. I always suggest any new student just stick with one pair. I suggest the Aussie or the Euro. Just stick with that. Don't be trading across the board like I do until you get a lot of experience and understand each pair's personality, because they all have a little bit different personality. And once you understand its personality, you'll be able to identify a lot quicker when it's getting in phase or out of phase. This particular pattern helps you identify that, but it's also good to have that experience understanding how these markets work, because they all move a little bit differently than each other. Okay, so understand how a pair works, how it moves. Understanding its personality is going to be a big plus on you becoming a successful trader. All right, so got a couple more days here. Let's go take a look at Thursday and see that's action. Okay, here's Thursday's action for the 14th. We talked about markets getting out of phase. This was also another tough day. Both Wednesday and Thursday were really tough. Now, it almost hit my objective, but it didn't come until later in the day, and I ran out of time. But look at this, right out of the bat, 2 losses right there. That tells me right there that we're out of phase. Yeah, we had a couple wins, then we had a loss. Then we had some wins, then we had another, look, a 3 in a row, 4 in a row. It was definitely out of phase. So This, watching this, tells us to stay out of this because it tells us that we're out of phase. And then we started picking up towards the end of the day. We went back in the phase. Some of the other pairs, all the pairs actually started going the phase late in the day, but I had just run out of time, wasn't able to hit my objective, but still it turned out to be a win overall. So that's the key. When it's out of phase, this is why this pattern is so strong, because it tells me when to get in and when to get out of the market. And it's also a good indicator for watching the other pairs as well. So anyway, let's take a look at Friday. Friday was just another awesome Friday. I think these Fridays are starting to become one of my favorite days. They used to be the worst, but now they're becoming one of the best. So let's take a look at Friday, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, here's Friday. Friday was just unbelievable across the board, and it wasn't just in the Aussie. But look at this. I don't know how many trades I had here. I don't know, maybe 20, 22 trades. Had one loss. I mean, it was incredible all day long. We all hit our objective early in the day. The rest of the day was just watching and talking about these setups. But I hit my objective once again very early in the day. But here we have like 20-some different signals. I don't know how many you have there. But anyway, you had one loss. This is an awesome in-sync market. Now, that's a really high ratio. And these are all, once again, these are all just naked signals. This is if you just close your eyes and every time you had a short, you sold it. Every time you had a buy, you bought it. Now, a lot of times, some of these trades, you're not going to get real good premium. And particularly if you're live, the key to a lot of these trades, when you start to trade live in the day, that can be very close between what you see live and what you see demo as far as the premium is concerned. So what you do is if you can't get the premium in live, what you do is you wait for it. And there were several times that I had to just wait for premium because right out of the gate there was just no premium. So most of these trades you're going to see, they do have a little pullback. Like this buy here does have a pullback. You know, this short here had a pullback. So you can get much better premium by waiting. You just don't jump in there and go market. The only time I go market right out of the gate is if I see nice premium. Okay, and that's nice premium to me may not be nice premium to you. So whatever your threshold is, whether you want to make $30, $40, you just have to be patient. You have to wait. There's so many opportunities. Is you just have to be real disciplined in saying this is what I'm going to take. And you could use a limit order if you want. What I like to do is I like to watch it, and then once it hits what I'm looking to make, whatever that threshold is, whether it's going to be 25, 30 bucks, whatever, I'll wait till it hits it, and then I'll go market. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times instead of using a limit, I can get a much better fill. And there are times when I get some crazy, outrageous fills because I didn't put the limit order in. I just watched it. Now, I know it's harder to do when you're trying to trade 4 different pairs, but I typically am watching my favorites, which are Aussie and the Euro, and I can do that. Trying to do that with too many pairs is going to be difficult, so that's why I say just trade one pair because you can do quite well. Now, you're not going to have as many trades because you're trading one pair, but that's okay. It's not about the trading here. It's all about trying to make money, right? So you just have to learn to be patient. If you have the time to do that, that's great. If you don't have the time to do that, then you got to find some time. And if days don't work for you, then definitely come in at night because you can do quite well over a 2-hour period. And I mean, you have to devote some time, just like any other job. You know, you don't go to your job and work just an hour and they pay you, you know, unless you're an hourly, and then they pay you whatever that hourly. I mean, you got to work all day, right? So this is the same type of thing. This is a business. So the more time you put into it, not only the better that you're going to get at it, but you're also going to have a lot more opportunities to hit your higher objectives. So, okay, so that's it. Once again, this is all going to be automated starting this Sunday. So you're going to see that next week when I do the recap. You're going to see the new arrows on all the different patterns. And also, what we have Thanksgiving coming up. So I am going to have a Black Friday special. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it's going to end up being a really good deal for anybody that has not already purchased a core package. So keep your eye out for that. I may also do a video on that, but if not, for sure, I will be sending out emails. So if you're not on my email list, please go to binaryprostrategies.com. Provide me with your email, and I'll make sure that you get get updated on that Black Friday special, because I'll run it that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I'll cut it off. So I'll run it for 3 days, but it's going to end up being a nice deal. So if you haven't purchased a core package, definitely keep an eye out for that. Get on my email list to make sure that that you're notified. Once again, I will try to do a video, but time allowing, if I can't, at least you're on my email list and you'll get the email. So that's it. Any questions, comments, please leave them below. You all know how to get a hold of me. You can always go to my website. I don't hide behind my website. There is a number there. You can call me if you need to call me, and we can talk about it. If you decide you want to join us, always be glad to talk to you and answer any questions you may have. And my goal here is to teach y'all how to successfully trade these binaries. Okay, I've been doing it for a long time. Been trading for over 38 years. I've traded everything from commodities to stocks, options, everything. I'm going to teach you everything that I can, everything that I know to make you a successful trader. So that's it. Everybody have a great week. I'll start again this Sunday night with my students in chat. And next week, I'll do the next update. Y'all have a great week. Take care.